My sister drowned in the river, or so they said. No body, no answers, just silence. Until her shoes showed up on my porch, clean, dry, and pointed straight at my door. What I uncovered in Black Hollow shattered every truth I thought I knew. Stay with me, because if someone you loved vanished without reason, this story might sound painfully familiar. I wake before the sun, as always. The light hasn't cracked the horizon yet, but something draws me outside. A feeling in my gut I can't name. Not dread, not fear, something older. The porch boards groan beneath my feet. I pause, rubbing my eyes, and then I see them. Her shoes, Beth's black leather shoes, the ones with the pearl buttons scuffed. At the toe, sitting side by side at the top step, pointed toward the door. They're dry, not muddy, not waterlogged, not torn from current or storm. Dry and clean, as though she'd just stepped out of them after Sunday service. But Beth is dead. They found her things at the riverbank 6 days ago. Her shawl tangled in cattails, her bonnet caught on driftwood. No body, but the current was strong that night, and the sheriff said, "The river keeps its dead." I didn't argue. I stood there like everyone else, quiet and nodding while they held the service, closed casket, no remains. Just lilies and silence and a few polite sobs. She didn't go walking alone at night, not near that river. Not since what happened 2 winters ago, and now this. I stare at the shoes, my breath held so warm it burns. I kneel. My fingers shake as I touch them. The leather's warm. Too warm for a night this cold. I bring them inside. I don't call the sheriff. I already know what he'd say. Maybe someone moved them. Maybe they weren't hers. Maybe I'm seeing what I want to see. But I know these shoes. I sewed the lining when it tore. I buffed the scuffs before her recital last spring. They are hers. I placed them on the hearth, just beside the lantern. The wind howls outside. It's not a storm, just the sound of winter pushing through dead trees. But in it, for just a moment, I swear I hear her voice, whispering, laughing, calling my name. I don't sleep that night. I sit in my rocking chair with a blanket across my lap and Beth's shoes on the hearth, staring at me like a question I can't answer. I wait for dawn for reason, for something to explain why the shoes are here. Dry, warm, and real. But when the sun finally slips over the trees, feel is heavier, and I know I need to search, not outside. Inside. Beth lived with me the last 5 months before she disappeared. After Mama passed, and after that incident in town, she never told me the whole of it, only that someone tried to corner her outside the general store and she wouldn't go near. Black Hollow again without a coat and a blade. First, everything's untouched. The quilt still folded at the foot of the bed. The little pressed flower she kept on the nightstand, dry and curled now. Her perfume bottle, still half full. Nothing strange, nothing missing, but something pulls me to the hearth. Maybe it's the way the light hits the stones just right, or maybe it's the shoes sitting so calm beside the firewood, like they're waiting. I reach behind the grate, where the wall juts inward just a bit. My fingers brush something soft. Fabric, then paper, a pouch. Inside pages. Torn from a larger book, bound with twine, Beth's handwriting. I sink to the floor, open the first page, and feel my heart clench. If anything happens to me, it wasn't the river. I read until the words blur. She writes of someone she was seeing, secretly. A man, important, respected, married. She doesn't name him, but she hints. Phrases like, "He leads them in prayer," and "He told me I was salvation." Beth thought. She might be pregnant. She writes of threats. That he said if she told anyone, the whole town would believe him over a girl like her. That he knew ways to make her disappear quietly. The last page ends abruptly. I won't stay quiet. Not again. I buried the ribbon by the church. Maybe they'll find it if I'm gone. I sit in the ash and soot, gripping the pages like a lifeline. My chest aches, not from grief, but from fury. Beth didn't fall in. Someone wanted her gone, and I think they're still watching me. The churchyard is empty when I arrive, though the morning bell has already rung. I wait behind the sycamores until the last of the townsfolk file out, their boots crunching over frost and gravel. No one notices me. No one ever really does. Beth used to say that was my superpower, being quiet enough to disappear when needed. Now I'm using it for her. The back of the church faces the older graves. the ones with names worn off and crosses leaning from decades of neglect. I step carefully, scanning the ground near the hedge. Beth never liked symmetry. She would have buried something where no one else would think to look. The grass crunches underfoot, brittle with winter. I pause by a stone angel whose wing's been chipped off. The earth dips slightly near its base, like it's been disturbed. Before I kneel, my fingers dig through frozen layers. Not deep, just enough to find what I hoped and feared. A ribbon silk, pale blue, frayed at the ends. Tied in a tight knot around a scrap of paper, I untie it with trembling hands. The note inside is faded but legible. Beth's handwriting, again, rushed and jagged. He says no one will believe me. But if you're reading this, Miriam, then something happened. Don't let them lie. Look under the pew with the cracked leg. I left something else there. I love you. I'm sorry. My throat tightens. I don't cry. Not here. Not where he might see me. I press the note to my chest and slide the ribbon into my coat pocket. The pew inside the church. A specific one, cracked leg. There are dozens of pews, but I know which. One, she means, third row from the front, right side. The leg's been uneven since the flood in 7/7. Beth used to run her fingers along the splinter when she was nervous. She once said it reminded her that even holy things break. I wait until dusk. Then I return. The church is empty, except for shadows and the scent of wax and dust. I find the pew beneath it. Wedged under a floorboard is a folded photograph and the gold pin worn only by one man in this town. Reverend Ezra Cole, my hands. Go cold. Beth's words ring in my ears. He leads them in prayer. And now I know who I'm praying against. I walk home with the photograph pressed tight in my palm, wrapped in a handkerchief like a wound that needs hiding. The gold pin glints through the cloth, small, round, etched with a lamb and staff. Reverend Ezra's signature piece. A symbol. Of humility, he always claimed. Now it burns like a brand. The photo shows Beth standing beneath the church's west window, her face half lit by sun, and next to her, not touching but close, is Ezra, hand outstretched, not blessing, reaching, his mouth mid-word, her eyes unreadable. She wasn't supposed to be alone with him. No unmarried girl was, but she was, and someone captured it. Why? Who took this? Why hide it? I want to run to Sheriff Mullen, slam the photo down, shout the truth. But I remember his voice when Beth disappeared. A girl like that wanders too close. To trouble. He already made up his mind. I try my neighbor Ruth instead. She's known me since I was 6. She taught Beth to bake. She held Mama's hand the day she died. I show her the ribbon. The note. Her face turns pale. Put that away, she says. For your sake. What do you mean? Ezra isn't just a preacher. He's the reason half the men in Black Hollow have work. He signs the contracts, runs the missions, holds the trust on the mills. So we're supposed to pretend he didn't. You don't know what you're stirring. I feel the heat rise in my throat. Beth is dead. Touches my arm. Her fingers are cold, and she'd still be dead if you hadn't found those shoes. But if you keep going, you might join her. I pull away. On my way back home, eyes follow me. From behind curtains, from the steps of the post office, a man outside the mill crosses the street when he sees me. Even the children grow quiet as I pass. Beth used to say, this town smelled like sawdust and secrets. She was right. When I reach the cabin, I check the hearth. The shoes are gone, just a streak of ash where they sat. I spin, heart hammering, and for one breath I swear I see someone on the edge of the trees. Woman in a black shawl watching Dot, then gone like she never existed. I lock every door that night, bolt the windows, draw the curtains, light to lanterns, and set them on opposite ends of the cabin. Still, the shadows lean too long, and every creak feels like breath on my neck. The shoes are gone. No footprints, no wind strong enough to carry them. Just vanished. I tried to tell myself maybe I moved them. Maybe grief is playing tricks again. But the note, the ribbon, the photo, they're real. And whoever placed those shoes is real too. I pace for hours until I hear it. Not a knock, not footsteps. A murmur, low, indistinct, like someone speaking softly in another room. But I live alone. I press my ear to the bedroom floor. There it is again, A whisper, feminine, familiar. I grab the lantern and move the rug. I haven't pulled up the floorboards since the summer storm 2 years ago when a pipe cracked and the whole cabin nearly flooded. But I know which slat is loose. I wedge my fingers and pry it up. Beneath it, a hollow space lined with dust, broken coins, and forgotten things, and a piece of fabric. Beth's scarf. I lift it slowly. Beneath it lies something else. A rosary, black beads, silver crucifix. The same one Beth stopped wearing the day she said he used it to swear a lie. And beneath the rosary, more pages. She must have torn these from the same journal. I read with shaking hands. He said the river would do it, that no one would ask questions, that I'd vanish like wind. But I told him I left something behind, something that would speak when I no longer could. If you're reading this, Miriam, it means he lied, and you're still listening. A floorboard groans behind me. I turn so fast, I nearly knock over the lantern. No one's there, but the front door is open, wide, and the wind carries the faintest scent, lilac and honey, Beth's scent. I slam the door shut and bolt it again. My chest won't stop trembling. Whoever took the shoes came back. Not to scare me, to remind me. I'm not just uncovering Beth's secrets, I'm stepping into them. The next morning, I walk straight into town with Beth's scarf in my coat and the photo tucked under my dress. I don't bother hiding my steps anymore. Let them see me. Let them whisper. My sister was worth more than their silence. The church doors are open, always open. A symbol of refuge, Ezra once said. He's inside, lighting candles at the altar. His hands are steady, his expression practiced. Miriam, he greets me with a nod. A blessing to see you here. I step closer. We need to talk, of course. Shall we pray together? No, you first. He tilts his head, playing. Innocent, I hold out the photograph. His fingers freeze mid-air before he takes it. His eyes flick over it. His mask doesn't slip. But I see something like calculation in his stillness. I don't recall this moment, he says. Beth did. Miriam, she's gone. But she left messages, notes, ribbons, photos, a rosary buried under my floor. And she named you. He walks toward the pulpit. Slow, careful. I counseled your sister, nothing more. She was scared of you. He turns. People come to faith when they're afraid. I step forward. She said, you threatened her. His mouth tightens. What exactly are you accusing me of? That you knew what would happen to her. That maybe you made it happen. He smiles, not kindly. The river is dangerous, Miriam. It swallows grief, and it can make anyone see ghosts. I take out the shoes. Yes, I found them again, at the foot of my bed this morning. Still dry. Still placed, I set them on the pew between us. His face goes pale. His hand trembles. You buried her with those, I say quietly. He doesn't answer. You said they found her body, that she'd been laid to rest. But these were with her, and now they're here. You're not just a liar, Ezra. You're afraid. He looks at me for a long moment, then lowers his voice. Be careful, Miriam. People who chase shadows often fall into them. I take the shoes and leave. Outside, the church bells toll, but there's no wind, no hands pulling the rope, only sound. Like the river calling out from underground, like it remembers. That night, I dream of water, not drowning, silence. A kind of heavy quiet that presses on my chest and keeps me from waking. When I finally do, the air tastes like iron, like blood in a cracked lip. The shoes are by my bed again. This time, like someone stood in them before stepping away. I don't scream. I don't cry. I get dressed. I carry Beth's scarf, the photo, the rosary, and I walk, not to the sheriff, not to Ruth, to the cemetery, the old part where the cross is lean and the grass grows wild. Beth's name isn't here. They placed her, stone near the river, like they wanted her absence to stay tethered to the water. But this is where the real stories rest, the forgotten ones, and it's where Ezra's father is buried, Ezekiel Cole, minister, builder of the first chapel, and keeper of the church's earliest ledgers, at least. According to Ruth's whispered warnings once, his grave has secrets. She'd said years ago, after one too many glasses of elderberry wine, things never meant to be unearthed. Bring a spade. It's almost too easy. The earth is soft from last week's thaw. Just behind the cross, the ground sinks slightly. Not a full grave, but a marker stone with no inscription. I dig there. It takes me 30 minutes. Then I hit it. A tin box. I pry it open. Inside, bundled in oilskin, is a leather ledger. Date scrawled in looping script. 1856, 1863, 1872. Names, donations, confessions. Then a section marked appointments. Dozens of women. Notes beside each one. Anna are relocated. Marie D. vanished. Beth S. unfit. Arrangements made. R. to confirm. R. Reverend or Ruth. No. To many entries, this was organized. Systematic, Beth wasn't. The first, she was one of many. And Ezra didn't act alone. At the bottom of the box is a handkerchief, embroidered with the initials VM Virginia. Mullen, the sheriff's wife, the pieces fall like shattered glass. Ezra Mullen, the church. The law, a network of erasure. I close the box, take the ledger, and as I rise, I hear it again. A laugh, soft, musical. Beth's laugh carried on the wind like a warning, or maybe an invitation to keep going. The ledger sits on my kitchen table, like it's alive. The names inside it whisper louder than wind, louder than grief. Every page, another girl. Another secret black hollow chose to forget. Beth wasn't the first, but she will be the last. I make copies, as many as I can. I write the names, the dates. I underline Beth's unfit arrangements made. I circle the others, the vanished, the dismissed, the relocated. All of them young, all of them women. By dusk, I've nailed the pages to the church doors, to the sheriff's office, to the mill gates, to every corner of this town that told me to stay silent. Then I wait. They come after dark. Sheriff Mullen first. His breath smells like bourbon and panic. You don't know what you're doing, Miriam. Oh, I do, I say, holding Beth's shoes in one hand and the rosary in the other. He steps forward, but something stops him. Maybe it's the way. The wind kicks up. Maybe it's the sound soft at first, then growing. The river. It's roaring, angry, rising. Ezra arrives second. No collar now, just a man stripped of title, his hair wild, his eyes red. You're bringing ruin, he hisses. No. I say you did. I'm just dragging it into the light. Behind him, people gather. Ruth is there. And Mayor Ellis. Even Clara, the baker's wife, holding her baby close. I see recognition on their faces. Fear, yes, but also something else. Memory. It starts to rain. Not gently, not in drops, sheets of it, cold and sudden. The kind of rain. That belongs to judgment. Water flows through the streets, quick and rising. The river's broken its bank. Someone screams. And then over the roar, over the cries, a sound I know deep in my bones. Knocking from my porch, I run, heart in my throat. The shoes are there again, but this time they're wet and standing. Behind them, drenched and silent, is a girl in a black shawl. Beth no older than the day she vanished. Her eyes meet mine, and then she speaks, not with her mouth, but with her presence. You found it. You heard me. And then just like that, she's gone. The shoes remain heavy with truth, and I am no longer afraid. The flood recedes by morning. What's left behind is a town stripped bare, fences flattened, mud in the streets, pews from the chapel floating in the mill pond. The river carved its way straight through Black Hollow like it was hunting something or someone. I walk through it all in silence. Beth's shoes and my satchel, and the ledger bound tight under my coat. People don't meet my eyes anymore. They look down, or away, or at the sky, as if expecting it to fall. Next, at the chapel, the altar is gone, washed clean. Just stone and silence now. Ezra's gone too, disappeared before sunrise. No one saw him. Leave no goodbye, no sermon. Sheriff Mullen's still here, but he won't look me in the eye. Word is, his wife hasn't spoken since she saw her initials in the ledger. Just sits on the porch muttering prayers. No, one taught her. Something's cracked open in this place. And it's not just the buildings. Ruth finds me near the graveyard. You did it, she says quietly. I didn't do anything, I reply. Beth did. She just needed someone to listen. Ruth nods slowly. You've got people talking now, whispering about what they remember, what they've seen. Maybe it's time we stop whispering. I want to believe her, but then I hear it. Again, laughter, high young. Not cruel, familiar. A girl stands at the edge of the trees. Not Beth this time, someone younger. Dark hair, blue ribbon in her braid. She vanishes when I blink, but the message is clear. Beth wasn't alone, not in death, not in silence, not in what she endured, and neither are the others. I spend the rest of the day placing the ledger copies in mail sacks, sending them to every paper in the region. 2 lawyers, to clergy in other towns. 2 women's shelters. 2 places where memory lives longer than fear. Before sundown, I take Beth's shoes, now worn, water-damaged, and place them on her false grave, not to mourn, to mark, to say she was here, she mattered, and she will never be forgotten. The wind rustles through the grass, and for the first time since this began, it doesn't sound like a warning, it sounds like peace. Weeks pass, the town is quieter now, not in the way it once was, stifled and complicit, but in a listening way. People talk less out of habit and more out of care. The church still stands, though the sermons are shorter. No one mentions Ezra, his name hangs in the air like mildew, a rot they're still trying to scrub out. I've taken to walking by the river each morning, not to mourn, to remember, to remind the water that I'm not afraid of it anymore. Beth's grave has become a place of offerings, fresh flowers, ribbons, a photograph once, a girl I don't recognize, but her smile matches the dates I read in the ledger. Her family remembers now. They all do. One evening, just before dusk, a knock sounds at my door. It's not a preacher, not a sheriff. It's a girl no older than 16, holding a satchel and a letter addressed in my name. She says her mother was one of the names in the ledger. She says, "You believed her when no one else would." I invite her in. We talk. We cry. We laugh. She stays the night. In the morning, we find the shoes again on the porch. Dry dot, but different now, cracked with time, soles worn thin, as if they've walked a long way to return. I don't take them inside. I leave them there, pointed outward, ready for the next girl who needs to come home. Because this isn't just Beth's story anymore, it's mine, it's hers. It's every woman who ever whispered the truth into the dark, hoping someone would hear it echo back. And it's not over. A week later, I receive a package, inside a ledger, not the one I found, a new one, this one with fresh entries. More names, a different town, different preacher, same silence. I sit at my kitchen table, lantern burning, pen in hand, and I begin to write. Because the river doesn't lie, and neither will I.